Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. Oh, no, this is Tarotland Soap Opera. I have another channel. But on this channel, we always do two rows. So the top row is going to be high vibe Aquarius energy. The bottom row is going to be a more worldly, shadowy Aquarius energy. We all have our dualistic nature of free will, and we have to make decisions in our life. And some people could be struggling within themselves right now. They might want to move forward in life differently. You know, we heal, we grow, we mature, we expand our perception of ourselves and the world around us, have more hope and faith and belief in ourselves and in our dreams. But we might struggle because it could require us to detach from an old way of living life. It might require changes in our life, like different jobs, friendships, and relationships, or just stopping certain habits. And some people could struggle within themselves about that. Other people are moving forward in life differently, and when they move forward in life differently, they could have some people in their life who aren't moving forward differently, and a lot of times that's okay. We're all moving forward at different times in our life, and we can wish other people well, and they wish us well. The problem is if it's more of a close friendship maybe, or romantic relationship, because we were hoping those people would be wanting kind of have the same dream as we had and look at life from the same perspective that we do, and wanted them to move forward with us, but sometimes we part ways with people. So let's go look at the top row. The reason for the top row's reading is the Eight of Wands, which is also why the reading came out. The Eight of Wands is Sagittarius energy. You know, life's a journey. Life's about learning lessons. It's fire sign energy. We can be motivated and inspired by different things. We kind of want to move forward in life doing these things, and other people want to move forward in maybe how they've been moving forward or what motivates and inspires them. Some people will be moving forward with us, will be moving forward with other people. There might be some other people, though, that aren't on the same page. In a more shadowy sense, you could know some people who are kind of more immature. Because shadowy Eight of Wands in Sagittarius energy, life's about learning lessons. And if you are wanting to be in more balanced, just, fair, authentic, loving, creative, inspired relationships, you might know some people that they're not ready to move forward in that way yet. So in the top row, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is going with the flow, not trying to force the wheel to go in fate to go in your favor. You're just kind of listening to your intuition, having hope and faith and belief, accepting the truth of what is and going with the flow. Then we have a card not showing itself, the Queen of Swords, which I view as Aquarius energy, and the feminine figures in tarot can talk about how we think and feel. You might know other people in the Aquarius energy that are kind of on the same page as you, and you've all seen the truth about living life in a way that you could have before, certain habits, ways of viewing life. You saw the truth of it. The Three of Swords comes after the Two of Swords, which can be feeling stuck. And we all live our life at a certain way of living life and viewing life based on, you know, our maturity level and just how we view life. And we could have realized that those ways of living life or viewing life were kind of stopping us from moving forward, more going with the flow. We could have had people in our life that are more stuck, or the Two of Swords, Libra energy, the Three of Swords is Libra energy. Could have been dealing with a Libra, but just what we think is just and fair. And some people aren't inspired to go with the flow, which can be high vibe energy is about being more independent, learning some lessons in life, looking at life from a higher perspective, dealing with some of those issues that keep us stuck, our fear, our insecurity, our pride, our ego, our immature nature, whatever it can be, and seeing the truth of it and moving forward together. Let's go look at this card that's not showing itself. In order to move forward in this way, this could be something that previously kind of was that stumbling block. And with some people in your life, you could have realized that you harness that energy differently. And you previously could have harnessed that energy in a more worldly way. And when you quit aligning with harnessing this energy in a more worldly way, you kind of distanced yourself probably some people who also did. And then that kind of freed you to move forward. It starts within ourselves. And when we kind of detach from that, we kind of aren't in alignment with certain people in our life anymore. And you're now harnessing it in a high vibe way. And some people don't know that. The Nine of Wands in reverse. So the Nine of Wands, like the Eight of Wands, is Sagittarius energy. Previously, you could have been more defensive to believing in yourself, believing in your dreams, seeing the truth of something. Maybe before you weren't seeing the truth of something, and it kind of had you more defensive about moving forward in life, kind of looking at life as an adventure. Because the Three of Swords can also mention past pain and heartbreak that we've had and self-limiting beliefs that we've had. And when we kind of do that work within ourselves, and again, Sagittarius energy is about higher learning and education. When you were inspired to take action, to kind of wrap your brain around this game of life and put things in perspective, wanting to get out of your more defensive energy, you saw the truth of what was holding you back, and you worked through those issues to see the truth of them, so they're no longer a roadblock in your life, and that you can move forward. So it has to do with kind of defensiveness, and the Nine of Wands is also the wounded warrior, these things that have wounded us in our life. And since that's a masculine figure, the masculine figures can represent that we're kind of taking action a little bit more from our ego nature in some regard. And so seeing the truth of that, seeing how we could have other people in our life that were defensive to moving forward with us in a more creative, inspired, just, fair, loving way. And that if we wanted to move forward to accomplish our dreams, we have to work through our own defensiveness. We offer other people love and encouragement to work through their defensiveness. And the people who are willing to move forward with us in that way, move forward with us in that way. And the people who still are defensive to looking at life from a higher perspective, being motivated and inspired by love and listening to their intuition, those people might keep living their life the way they've been living it. So let's go look at the bottom row. In the bottom row, we were inspired with the Page of Swords. It could have been how the Page of Swords can represent like Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. We could have been more defending our more worldly view of life. I need to work with these things of the world, and I need to work with these people and other people who work with these things of the world. And maybe not as inspired in our fire sign energy to just kind of tap into our more creative, inspired, intuitive nature that, we have this dualistic nature. We live in a world of duality. We have the free will choice to align with our more worldly nature and work with things of the world. But hopefully as we learn lessons in life, it's kind of like these forces exist in the world and we can align with one or the other. And hopefully over time we get more inspired to realize that, there's more to life and things to work with than these things of the world. The King of Pentacles represents like earth sign energy, working with things of the world, and kind of more willing to align with our more creative, inspired, intuitive nature to guide us versus maybe living more from our mind than our heart and kind of conforming more to the world. We were given our intuition and our creativity and our imagination as like gifts, kind of like bats have sonar. We were given our intuition, our creativity, our imagination, our dreams, that if we align with those things, then aligning with kind of life-giving energy in the world, it works with us to help manifest our dreams into reality. And previously, we and some other people could have been just, I think the first 30, 40 years of our life were kind of more aligned with our more worldly nature, or you could look at that in tarot. They talk about your south node versus your north node. And in our south node, we do have all these lessons to learn in life, and we are motivated and inspired by a lot of these things in the world, and being more indulgence of our immature nature and our worldly nature and self-indulgent nature, we got all these lessons to learn. And then as we could try to move forward with those things and with other people, if one person starts to be inspired to look at life from a higher perspective, that I think there's more to being on this planet than just about me or these things of the world, that there's kind of a higher purpose, and that is to give birth to new things, because if everybody were to keep repeating old patterns of the past, we'd never give birth to anything new. And high vibe energy, at the big picture represented by God, wants to give birth to new things, and we need to listen to our unique talent, skills, and interests, and our creativity and our intuition, to get out of our more worldly, defensive, egoic energy. And when we start to do that, there could be other people in our life that would like to come with, but if they're not kind of willing to give up their defensiveness, or still defensive to dealing with issues within them that manipulate them, then we might not be able to move forward with them. So let's go look at these three cards. We have the Knight of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Five of Wands. There might have been some people in our life, whether throughout our life we can, life's about learning lessons. Some people are very loving, balanced, just, fair, creative, inspired, independent. Other people, maybe not so much. And it's about these lessons that we learn in life. And do we free ourselves from things that manipulate us, or do we not? And we might know some people in our life who are very much about their ego or their image, self-indulgence, don't want to step outside of societal norms to live their more authentic life, like to conform maybe more to the world. And though you could have people in your life that you love, if it's stopping us from moving forward to live our authentic life and bring our dreams into reality, we might need to wish some of those people peace. But I'm going to listen to my intuition. We're either letting love and intuition guide us, or we could be letting more of our immature nature, our defensive nature, our worldly nature, fear, insecurity, pride, ego, other people in our life kind of manipulate us. And high vibe energy is, again, about being more independent. I don't like being manipulated by my own fear, insecurity, pride, ego, immature, self-indulgent nature, and I don't like being manipulated by other people who might be in shadowy energy. And so there could have been people that you could have communicated with. Both the wands are about communication. The Queen of Swords could be about communicating with people your truth. There could be some people in the world that would like to work with you in some type of relationship, but they might want to hide. The Nine of Wands in reverse could be people who don't have good boundaries within themselves. And so that would be someone who's more immature, because they kind of give in to their maybe other people, other things manipulate them, and they don't have good boundaries within themselves to stand up for themselves and what they believe in. Just might be more ego and image focused or self-focused. And it's like, I want to be in relationships with people who are more independent, who are more balanced within themselves, so they're not as easily manipulated by their own shadow nature and other people. And some people who could be in a more worldly, shadowy energy could hide from people in their life that they are kind of more emotionally invested in kind of the competition, which is, in our dualistic nature, in shadowy energy, you're more emotionally invested in this more worldly view of life, which can be competition, can be ego, can be defensiveness, but it also, our shadow natures are more immature, prideful, egotistical, lazy, that wants reward without effort, staying kind of maybe more immature in our thinking, logic, and reasoning, not willing to be more authentically themselves in the world or more independent in the world. And so they're kind of invested in their life with a lot, letting their shadowy worldly nature kind of manipulate them, and then invested in other people who maybe in their Pisces, Taurus, and Leo energy are kind of more about those things, and could be in friendships, relationships, marriages, workplaces with other people who are more not so creative or inspired or looking at life from a higher perspective, but they work with them and they want to get along with them, or they are in family dynamics or relationships with them. And even though you inspire them to kind of go more with the flow, they could still be defensive to being able to maintain balance within themselves. And it's hard for them to, from the 1 wand to the 8 of wands is the 7 of wands. You have to kind of work through those things to stand up for yourself and what you believe in. And there might be some people in your life that still have difficulty doing that to their own more worldly view of life, and other people then in their life that might not want them to live life differently than them. And when you could have been in a relationship with some people, you kind of realize that you harness these energies differently, where you could have thought you were on the same page. But then as time goes by in a relationship, what they didn't know about you is that you've offered love to your philosophy of life, because Taurus has to do with our philosophy of life and how we make decisions in our life. And you are invested in change. The fives can talk about change and being inspired kind of by your more inner child nature to free yourself from things that manipulate you. Because I view the King of Pentacles as Capricorn energy, and shadowy Capricorn energy is represented by the devil. And within ourself, the devil kind of represents us being more about ourself and more about these things of the world. High vibe energy is freeing ourselves from those things that manipulate us. Being inspired to, Aquarius is like kind of unique energy. I think I read an article one time too that there's fewer people born under the Aquarius sun sign energy than other zodiac signs, because they do look at life from a different perspective. It's not so caught up in the world, and it could be more social justice and humanity issues that can be traits of Aquarius sign energy. And they could feel betrayed when people think it's just and fair to make their life so much more about these things of the world. We all put in work and effort to have stability and security and enjoy some of the finer things in life. But does that have to be the driving factor in our life? And conforming to the world? What about living our more authentic life? And being inspired to bring needed change to the world. And some people could really have a hard time with that, and we don't really kind of know that. And for a lot of friendships or relationships, it works out okay. You go live your life, I go live my life. And we'll hang out. But sometimes during a course of a relationship, if one person is more bold and brave and confident to live their more authentic life, and the other person isn't, then there can be, this kind of conflict in a relationship because one person's willing to be more independent, the other person maybe isn't. The other person is maybe a little more inspired to stand up for themselves when they need to, where the other person maybe never really kind of stands up for themselves in their dreams, and they kind of give in to other people and themselves. And then high vibe people are able to get out of their defensiveness, to work through it, to be free of it, and keep moving forward. And other people just maybe haven't learned to have such good boundaries within themselves. And we could have been in family dynamics where we felt betrayed. We could have been in jobs where we felt betrayed. Either because they didn't have good boundaries within themselves, or they didn't kind of stand up to other people who were kind of indulging in poor behavior. But the people who are willing to move forward with us, they also are kind of detaching from, and the pages in that way, in a high vibe way, is like, I'm not trying to be bossy and controlling and harsh, but, we've done things this way, and we ended up getting betrayed, and it didn't really work out the way we wanted. I'm kind of inspired to move forward differently, and my intuition is telling me that I want to move forward in this new way. And there could be people they know in their life, or in their, if it's a workplace situation, that kind of are defensive to that. But if this person could be a person in a position of authority, could be, I'm not going to let people get me in more of this defensive energy. I could be tired of feeling like those people try to manipulate me. I'm going to listen to my intuition, and instead of defending this old way of doing things, I am motivated to and inspired to move forward in this new way. And if some of you are already moving forward in that new way, that's how you come together with other people who are on the same page as you. And some of those people could communicate with you that they are ready to go with the flow and defend kind of moving forward in this new way, more balance between their worldly nature and their kind of creative, hopeful, intuitive nature, to move forward with you in that way. So that could be good news. And then there might be other people in the group or at the workplace who, if this person is in a position of authority, might be a little defensive, but they're willing to go along with it. So what's coming up for people who harness some more high vibrational Aquarius energy, being inspired to listen to their intuition, have hope and faith and belief in their dreams? The Judgment card. Why? Because of the Death card. So high vibe people want to move forward with people who harness high vibe Aquarius, high vibe Libra, high vibe Sagittarius, in a balanced, authentic, loving, inspiring way. And if there's people in their life who they think harness more shadowy Aquarius, Libra, Sagittarius energy, they're holding themselves accountable to maintain balance within themselves. The Three of Swords, Libra energy, represented by the scales of justice, requiring other people, especially the kings, can also represent how people are presenting themselves in the world. And someone who presents themselves, whether they're male or female, when we take action in the world to present ourselves in the world, is considered masculine energy. But how do we really think and feel? And we can get in relationships with people who present themselves as more stable, grounded, emotionally mature people who are motivated and inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness. But then we can move forward with them in a relationship, and we kind of see the truth that that's not the truth of who you are. You might present yourself as being that type of person, but shadowy energy is kind of trying to, living more from your mind than your heart, trying to create an illusion that you're more maybe emotionally mature or balanced or just or fair than you really are. And people over time can kind of realize that some people are kind of immature or like to kind of indulge themselves in a relationship, but they're kind of defensive to being more just and fair, that they were hiding, that they're more emotionally invested in viewing life from their more self-focused or worldly focus and being maybe a little more driven to look like a shining star in the world, to look victorious and successful, more materialistically focused than they like to show people. And other people could see the truth of it. And then it's not a dream they're willing to defend anymore. And they feel betrayed. And then they see the truth. People aren't who I thought they were. I'm going to distance myself from them. So the judgment card is high vibe people hold themselves accountable. I have my shadowy nature. I could be more immature, bossy, controlling, stubborn, immature, manipulative if I wanted to be. But I've learned lessons in life and I've grown up. And that maybe isn't even how I don't want to live my life like that. I'm more inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness. And they're holding themselves accountable and they're holding other people accountable. And you know that life is about shedding old layers of ourselves to give birth to new aspects of ourselves. We detach from the past to give birth to something new. Death and transformation. Just like we did age 15 to age 18 to age 21 to age 25, we detach from our more immature, stubborn, whatever ways of being to, like the nesting dolls, we give birth to facing our fears, to step out of our comfort zone, to become like an 18-year-old instead of more like we were as a 15-year-old. And we have to see the truth of what things need to go. And some people maybe aren't ready to give up anything. Well, I have a way of viewing life and I have a way of viewing relationships. And I might be manipulative. I might be immature. I might be more materialistic. I might be more emotionally cold. I might be kind of immature, shadowy Scorpio. I might be more superficial and shallow. I might try to intimidate and control people. I might act like a private detective in a relationship. I might be a narcissist. But some people think, well, can't I move forward with you in a relationship anyway? Even though I'm aligned with non-life-giving energy, not authentically operating from hope and faith and belief and love. And some people are like, no, I can't move forward with people who are in those shadowy energies. I've already probably been in relationships with people who are like that. My dream requires that people be motivated and inspired by truth and love, and that's not where you're at. So they have to call judgment on those people. And then they work through all this heartbreak, kind of like transmute the energy. I don't want to keep feeling betrayed. I don't want to feel heartbroken. I am going to be inspired to work through this. And as they work through it, it kind of transforms their life. And they do look at life differently because they have seen the truth and learn lessons from this life experience. They have no interest in repeating this past pattern. So they get to go on to the next phase of life. The other people are going to repeat an old phase of life because the truth sets us free. And you have to be willing to hold yourself accountable. And some people aren't. So they're going to keep defending how they view life, how they live life, and other people are going to move on. And as you're moving forward in that way, there could be other people that will do the same work within themselves and transform their life because you inspired them to love and believe in themselves and believe in their dreams, and they're detaching from an old way of living life or viewing life. What's coming up for some people who harness some more worldly, shadowy Aquarius energy that they might not see coming up? The King of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Two of Cups. Sometimes people also like to be in relationships with people They'll either try to get in a relationship with someone, the pages can represent people who have that more hopeful believing spirit in love. I'll just go find someone else who has that hopeful believing spirit in love, and I'll try to create my illusion with them and get them to move forward with me. And some of them could be doing that right now, and if those people that they get in a relationship with are inspired to listen to their intuition instead of their fear and their codependent nature, they'll see the truth eventually and they'll move on. Otherwise, if they're more wanting to exchange resources with their more, what we refer to as their more immature worldly nature, that's what they are aligned with and what they love, they should go get in relationships with other people who are motivated and inspired to make their life about those things also. And that would be a balanced relationship. But it's an imbalanced relationship if one person's more motivated and inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness, and they're kind of more competitive, materialistic, or more about themselves or more immature. They should go get in relationships with other people who are on that same page. But since sometimes they don't do that, and regardless of who they're in relationships with, they could be in family dynamics, workplaces, and organizations that they belong to. And they want to exchange resources with people, but they really are kind of more immature. Because you've either seen the truth about how to treat other people the way you like to be treated, or you haven't. And you could be defending maybe being prideful or egotistical, bossy, controlling, competitive, immature, and eventually there's going to be other high vibe people in their life that wanted to work together with them, could have love for them, wanted to move forward with them. But if they keep being defensive, for some people, it's unwilling to get in a more formal commitment because the King and Queen of Pentacles is the only married suit of the deck. They want to play that role in people's life, but they never really take the action to bring that dream into reality. Let's just keep doing this. And eventually high vibe people are like, you know what? You want to keep exchanging time, energy, and effort with me in a relationship, but I have a dream. And I'm going to go invest in my dream. And I've been trying to offer love and resources to you to work together with me and have some hope and faith and belief and love, but apparently you don't. So eventually the high vibe people that have that hopeful believing spirit leave. And if they keep kind of being defensive to learning lessons in life, because when there's one pentacle in high vibe, it's about people learning lessons in life, working through their defensiveness or their past pain and heartbreak, or seeing the truth of these kind of shadowy traits or characteristics some of them have. They're going to end up probably in a relationship with someone who maybe just has a lot of lessons to learn or is just more codependent. And they might like that type of relationship. Like, I like people to defend me, make their life about me, be more codependent on me. And if they can find someone who wants to be in a relationship dynamic like that with them, because maybe that's how they view life, then that would be a just and fair relationship. So we'll leave it there, Aquarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.